and welcome to the official Xbox podcast. I'm
Vou
your host,
assistir
Annie,
tudo
and we have
novamente,
a very
galera.
special
Vou assistir
episode
aqui
today.
tudo novamente porque eu tinha feito um monte de problema.
And Matt, welcome. And we're going to talk about some updates at Xbox. We want to talk about game exclusivity. We want to talk about Activision Blizzard now that they're part of our portfolio, how that might be an impact on Game Pass. And we want to talk about hardware too and how all of this fits into the strategy at Xbox. So where should we start, Phil?
Well, when we originally had planned for the show, starting back in December, I think we probably would have started with Activision Blizzard, maybe talked a little bit about the exclusivity of some of the news coming up, and then hardware. But we've had some unforeseen news that has come out. So let's just go and tackle the exclusivity question, because I know it's on the minds of a lot of people who hear from the community, and that's an important input for us. So we made the decision that we're going to take 4 games to the other consoles, just 4 games, not a change to our kind of fundamental exclusive strategy. It is, we're making these decisions for some specific reasons. We make every decision really with the long-term health of Xbox in mind. And long-term health of Xbox means growing platform, our games performing, building the best platform for creators, reaching as many players as we can. We're always looking to learn as a leadership team and to grow. We think this is an interesting point in time for us to use what some of the other platforms have right now to help grow our franchises. So we're going to do that.
So these 4 titles, what are they? Can you say?
I'm not going to name those games. The teams that are building those games have announced plans that are not too far away. As we know, game teams put a lot of energy into their announcements with the partners. So I don't want to take anything away from those teams. So I won't be talking about the titles specifically, but I think when they come out, it'll make sense.
Can we say if either of those titles are Starfield or Indiana Jones?
They are not Starfield or Indiana Jones.
Não é Starfield nem Indiana Jones que vai para outras plataformas.
A little bit outside of that, and I'll get to the 4 specific games that we're talking about right now.
Serão 4 jogos.
The fundamental decision driver for any decision that we make, anything we're going to talk about today, is the long-term health of Xbox. That we're running a growing platform that is reaching more players, that our games are having as much success as possible. And I do have a fundamental belief that over the next 5 or 10 years, exclusive games that are exclusive to one piece of hardware, are going to be a smaller and smaller part of the game industry. And that's not some great insight, because if you look at the last 10 years and what the biggest games are today, it's a natural place. Whether it's one console and PC, multiple consoles, mobile console and PC, you see big games landing on multiple platforms. And we want to be a great platform for creators that are trying to realize that potential. But now back to the specifics of the question on these 4 specific titles. We looked at games that are over a year old, so they've been on Xbox and PC for a while. A couple of the games are community-driven games, new games that kind of first iterations of a franchise that have reached their full potential, let's say on Xbox and PC. There's always growth. Franchises that we obviously want to continue to invest in. Part of having the ability to continue to invest is that the businesses behind those franchises continue. We think it's important that these service-based games that have communities behind them, that they can have confidence that they're going to exist in the future. So 2 of them kind of community-driven games that will end up on other platforms and give us the ability to continue to invest in them. We think that's great for the business and great for the community. More players can play them. And so 2 of the other games are smaller games that were never really meant to be built as kind of platform exclusives and all the fanfare that goes around that, but games that our teams really wanted to go build, that we love supporting creative endeavors across our studios regardless of size. And as they realize their full potential on Xbox and PC, we see an opportunity to utilize the other platforms as a place to just drive more business value out of those games, allowing us to invest in maybe future iterations of those, the sequels to those, or just other games like that in our portfolio. And when we don't damage Xbox and we can grow our business using what other platforms have to help us with that, we're going to do that. And that's really the story behind these 4 games. And the last thing I'll say, looking forward, I think there are there is an interesting story for us of introducing Xbox franchises to players on other platforms to get them more interested in Xbox. We think there's a good brand value for Xbox there. So
Salve Mega Drive.
promise beyond that. So if you're on those other platforms and you see these 4 games coming, please don't take it as some signal that everything's coming. It's not. And we're going to learn.
So when you are thinking about the future and this concept of live service games, games that can benefit from bigger audiences and new audiences, how does that apply to future titles and how do you define that criteria there?
Yeah, there's really no fundamental change to how we think about exclusivity. We just came out of Developer Direct, which was an awesome show.
Eles não pensam em mudar a exclusividade, viu? Então esqueçam Indiana Jones e Starfield e outras plataformas. Esqueçam. Starfield e Indiana Jones vão ser exclusivos do Xbox. Ela perguntou logo no início, Starfield e Indiana Jones vão ser multiplataforma? Ele falou não. Bem claro. Ele vai botar jogos que 4 jogos de pequeno porte em outras plataformas são jogos feitos para a comunidade.
And then knowing that, how do we think about our first-party games and Game Pass?
Yeah, well, to build on what Phil just said, one thing I would add, when you were talking about growth, is just that we've sort of seen this inversion over the last 5 years where it used to be that the platform was the biggest thing. And the games would sort of tuck in within the platform. Today, big games like a Roblox or a Fortnite can actually be bigger than any one platform. And that really has changed the way that we think about things. So in the midst of all that, I think we at First Party can come back to sort of some 4 principles. First, that all of our games will be on the Xbox platform. Second, all of our games will go into Game Pass on day 1. And third, we know that Game Pass...
Vocês já viram que o Game Pass vai continuar, não vai acabar, o Day One vai continuar. Então aquela balela que diziam que o Day One ia acabar, é balela, né?
And at the same time, we want to bring more of our games to more players. So we're going to continue to look at that. Kind of moving aside, though, from some of those and thinking more about what does it really mean for the player, to me, the 2 key things are cross-play and cross-save. Those things allow us to deliver on the promise of Xbox, which is play with your friends where they are, play on the devices you want, play the games you want. So that is really only possible at a practical level when you know that your saves and your player are going to be able to move across all those parts. So not all of our games today are necessarily built to take advantage of that. There still will be some games that don't. As we bring more teams into the Xbox family, there's some catch up to do as we get there. But that cross-play, cross-save is like so fundamental to what we're doing, and I think it's something that we as First Party get such a good benefit from being so close to the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things, like you said, all of our games are always in Game Pass. And so I'm excited to announce, you know, with the coming together that we have with Activision Blizzard King, that Activision and Blizzard games are coming to Game Pass, starting with Diablo.
Começando com Diablo 4, vai chegar no Game Pass, ó. A promessa cumprida aí da Microsoft. Eu já havia até notícias aqui no canal sobre isso. 34 milhões de pessoas tendo a experiência do Game Pass. É muita gente, né? Bem, o Jason, Grounded e Sea of Thieves são jogos de comunidade que podem ir para outras plataformas sem problema nenhum. Paintment também, né? Duskfall também.
Which has been a promise that we've made on our first party games that you can buy our game once, you're going to play across Xbox and Windows. Eu
não vejo a hora também de ver os jogos da Activision, né? Todos os jogos vai começar com o Diablo, né? Eu vou jogar Diablo, que eu jogava no PC, agora eu vou jogar no Game Pass.
But it is this view that people are going to play Xbox in multiple places. Whether it's play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, whether it's content community in the cloud, whether it's when everybody plays, we all win.
O que a Microsoft disse de todos os dispositivos são esses aí que eu falei na minha notícia anterior, hoje.
platform for creators who want to reach the most players. Our investments in xCloud, our investments in franchises like Minecraft and now Call of Duty and other large franchises so we can learn how to build those. This has been a strategy that we've been on for, I'd say, a decade. It's not about one device. It's not about games in service of a device, but rather the devices that people want to play on should be in service of making the games as big and popular as they possibly could be. Because really, a healthy creator community on Xbox, a healthy creator community in gaming all up, is the thing that all of us as game players should be voting for, because that's the thing that will lead to the best long-term success and growth in this industry.
And my understanding, just from listening and learning from you three over the past few weeks, just understanding what's happening with Xbox, is that we see trends with player behavior where people are playing on multiple devices. That is the reality. And we have put some games out on multiple platforms before. So my understanding is that that's been good for players. How does that come back to the business with all of that in mind?
Yeah, as you said, we have shipped games on other platforms. In fact, realistically, if you look with the addition of Activision and Blizzard and ZeniMax, we're one of the largest game publishers on PlayStation. We're one of the largest publishers on the Nintendo Switch, especially when you put Minecraft into the equation as well. And now we're one of the largest publishers on mobile platforms as well.
Pois é, eles compraram a Activision, né? Viraram a maior publicadora de jogos dessas plataformas também. Então ela já é uma publisher dessas plataformas.
Us as leaders in this business, the system today, the system that all companies that we play video games from, is a world of you got to be growing your business. Growth in our Xbox business is critical to the long-term health of Xbox. Many people know I've been on Xbox for over 20 years, and I want to make sure Xbox is in the best position for the next 20 years. That means healthy player community, healthy creator community, and healthy business. So when we look at opportunities to allow more people to play, more people...
Meu Deus do céu, dá erro na página, nos piores momentos dá erro na página. Meu Deus do céu.
We want to continue to be building great games that millions and millions of people can love, and that they can play those games where they want to go play. But we do understand the business success that Xbox has.
Esse Chrome tá dando uns bugs.
The system today, the system that all companies that we play video games from, is a world of you got to be growing your business. Growth in our Xbox business is critical to the long-term health of Xbox. Many people know I've been on Xbox for over 20 years, and I want to make sure Xbox is in the best position for the next 20 years. That means healthy player community, healthy creator community, and healthy business. So when we look at opportunities to allow more people to play, more people to engage, more people to buy, more people to subscribe, it's all about putting Xbox in the best position. And our hardware is a critical component of that. The absolute best experience somebody has on Xbox is hardware that your team builds and that people play on. But that's not going to be everybody. We fully accepted that we're going to have Xbox players across all kinds of devices.
So I think a lot of people think about 2023 as this incredible year for gaming, and in a lot of ways it was. There were some really amazing releases that I think we all enjoyed. But what were the signals behind the scenes that maybe indicated how we wanted to look at the future of Xbox and how we kind of keep up with the industry?
Yeah, such a good question. And I think it's, as people who care about the industry, which I assume is people who are watching this, it was an amazing year. Some great launches, some of the games that I think will stand the test of time and people will be talking about a decade from now. But it's an industry that didn't really grow. And what happens when an industry doesn't grow?
A indústria não cresceu.
You end up with some job elimination, which we had. We had even our own hard decisions to make about building a sustainable business for ourselves, but in no way were we alone in that. When you think about a healthy industry, I want players who believe that they will find the best games on the platforms that they love. I want people who invest their careers in working here to feel like this is a place that they can be successful. And that really is down to being part of an industry that is growing. If you listen to Lisa Su, the AMD CEO, she'll say that AMD-powered consoles are likely to decline in 2024. I think there's an amazing set of games coming in 2024, but if we don't get to growing as an industry, the industry will struggle. And today there's really two choices on how do you grow the industry. Do you say I have a fixed number of players, the players that we have today, and do I find new ways to monetize those players to get more money from the players that I have? Or do you think about how do I expand the business I have by finding new players and adding those to the base of players that already play? Our focus on Xbox for the last decade has really been on that latter point of how do we make sure Xbox is growing for our players, growing for our creators, so those people are finding success on our platform, which will grow the Xbox business and put Xbox in a position to be very strong for years and decades to come.
Matt, earlier you were talking about these growing gaming communities, how they're incredibly large, and comparable on such a different level when we think about console audiences. Like you mentioned Roblox, you mentioned Fortnite. So how are we're obviously thinking about our responsibility, our hardware responsibility is supporting the growth of gaming communities. How has that actually shown up for the players? Are there other games we can speak to from our portfolio?
Well, as Phil mentioned, two of the biggest ones for us, Call of Duty and Minecraft, they are driven just from the bottom up by the communities of people that play those games, which is so great. I think about it, for the player community, it comes down to where are the friends, where are the people you play with, and then equally important is where have you built up your library of games, right? Where have you invested? Where's that library? I think those two things probably are some of the biggest influences on where people choose to play and what devices they choose to play. When we think about on the other side, the developer side, just any game developer wants their game to find the biggest audience possible. It's just the nature of building a game. You want people to enjoy and participate in what you make. And I think we're in a unique position to deliver on that just because we are the platform. We build hardware. We've got a first-party games group, and then we've got a system that ties that together, that brings together your friends, your progression, your achievements, all of that. And I think that's really what has contributed to the momentum on some of these communities.
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at, just step back and you look at the history of the industry, we've moved from a place where it used to be that someone built and launched a game to accelerate hardware to actually the things we do with our hardware and with our platform are all in service of making those games bigger. And we think about that across all of the investments we make, the consoles we build, the investments we do, things like cross-play, cross-progression, the things that we're doing with cloud. How do we actually get more options to game creators that can have the greatest success? I think one of the fun recent examples about this is actually Power World. Power World was able to launch, they were a game preview, they launched in Game Pass, they also simultaneously launched in Steam. So the combination of those things, Pocket Pair was able to have this outsized success, and it was the largest third-party Game Pass launch ever. And that's all because we give creators options on how they can launch their game. We've got subscription, we've got retail, we've got free-to-play, we've got free preview, we have the consoles, we have our experience on PC, and they can access all of those things. And when we step back and we just look at the performance of our platform all up, we know it's working. We're at the highest level of users on console, the highest level of users on PC, the highest level of users on cloud ever. We have double-digit growth rate on PC and cloud, places where we're enabling creators to actually reach new players beyond the console ecosystem. And that's why we're leaning into it and doing more, because we see all those signals.
So we're talking about the role that hardware plays for creators, for the games and those communities. What about the role that hardware plays for us as a business for Xbox?
When we look at our hardware, it really is, and Phil said this earlier, it's where you get the most flagship seminal experience of Xbox. And it also represents a developer target. Our developers can build the specs of our hardware, and we invest to make sure they know when they do that the games are going to run great on our hardware, but they're also going to be able to be accessed across any screen because of all the other investments we make.
Legal isso,
so we're
hein?
giving an easy way to access
É isso aí que eu já
as
falei
many players as
mesmo.
possible. And we actually have more creators right now building for Xbox than ever before by nature, thousands of them by nature of those investments. And we got more to come. There's some exciting stuff coming out in hardware we're going to share this holiday. And we're also invested in the next generation roadmap. And what we're really focused on there is delivering the largest technical leap we will have ever seen in a hardware generation, which makes it better for players and better for creators and the visions that they're building.
And then when we're talking about hardware too, there's these other considerations that are really important to our community, probably to each one of ourselves as well. When you talk about library, because I want to dig in on that a little bit more. As we talk about cloud in the wider entertainment industry, there's conversations about streaming. How is that impacting how I own my content that I've invested in? So what can we say about our stance around game preservation?
Yeah, one of the highlights for me of being in this position was getting to stand on stage when we announced back-to-back coming to Xbox One.
Lembro desse dia.
And just feeling the energy in the auditorium as we were saying that in online. One of the cues I think us as being part of Microsoft take is looking at Windows and how Windows over decades has maintained software compatibility with things that are built on it. Like I can still go back and play some of the games that I love playing on Windows from decades ago, and it will still run. And we try to bring that same view to consoles. It's harder in console because the line between what the hardware is and what the game is in consoles is traditionally it's tighter, which makes compatibility. You end up doing these generational compatibilities that we've built. But I will say compatibility, the ability to not only play the games, but my saves are still there with our cloud save systems to try to keep the services up as long as we can so that people can play is a tenet of what we are as Xbox. It's at our foundation. And when we look at future hardware generations and what we're going to support, making sure that we respect, which is the word I use, respect the investments that people have made in Xbox going forward is fundamental. And the fact that you get entitlements when you buy a game from us on both Windows and Xbox also means you have the ability to play that game across a multitude of devices, which I think furthers.
Isso aí, você pode ter o console e jogar em qualquer lugar. Essa é a visão do Xbox. Você tem o console Xbox para jogar os seus jogos no console e também pode jogar em qualquer dispositivo móvel ou TV, etc.
You're playing on a platform where you get to access Game Pass. And all of the games from our incredible range of studios will always launch in Game Pass day one.
Day one, sempre estarão chegando Day one.
Dedicated to you, like player first features, cross-play, cross-save, cross-progression, backwards compatibility, being able to play your games in your library anywhere you want because of the investments that we make in cloud gaming. And so you're playing somewhere where you're investing and you get to take the games forward with you and across all of the screens where you are. And I think most importantly, Xbox is a place where when you're investing in Xbox, you're investing somewhere that is dedicated to making games more successful and creators more successful so that they can invest more to bring even better experiences to you all the time.
Yeah, I guess that investment in the studios is so, and we feel that as part of first party with the platform proximity. It's kind of amazing now to look out across all the studios we've got and just be reminded that we're now one of the biggest development organizations in the industry. What does that mean for players? It means that the biggest games are going to continue to come to Xbox. And this 2024, the year coming up, we've got more than 10 major releases coming up. Great stuff. Hellblade 2. We've got Diablo expansion. We've got Avowed, Ara, the Indiana Jones.
Olha só, cara. E as pessoas reclamando do Xbox, com medo que isso tudo ia acabar. Onde que isso tudo ia acabar? Aí, ó. Tá aí, ó. A preocupação acabou. Nada vai acabar. A expansão do Diablo vai vir pro Game Pass, galera. Olha só, a expansão. Enquanto no outro vai ter que pagar. Pois é, tá aí. Eu gostei desse podcast, gostei muito. E tá aí, acabou todas as dúvidas, todos os medos. Eu acho que agora acabou, né, galera? Eu acho que os medos e os rumores foram sanados. Tá aí, eles não citaram os jogos que vão chegar, os 4 jogos, né? O que eles falam que são jogos feitos para a comunidade do Xbox, né? Que tá aqui nessa parte aqui, ó. Logo no início, ela pergunta quais os jogos, ela pergunta para o Phil Spencer dos jogos, né? E os jogos Day One vão continuar, né? Os jogos Day One vão continuar, não vai acabar. Tá aí, a Sarah Bond falou que vão continuar investindo em jogos Day One, os jogos vão chegar Day One no Game Pass, vão investir em jogos. E a ideia do Xbox é levar os jogos, né, levar o serviço para todos os lugares, todos os dispositivos. Ela não citou, né, outras plataformas, né, outros consoles. O que citou, dispositivos. Bem, os jogos que vão para outros consoles, ela não citou, né? Pelo que eu estou vendo aqui, eu vou até voltar aqui para ver se eu perdi alguma coisa, mas eu acho que não falou. Deixa eu ver aqui. O Phil Spencer falando sobre os jogos. Acho que é nessa parte aqui. Deixa eu ver se é nessa parte aqui.
Well, when we originally had planned for the show, starting back in December, I think we probably would have started.
Acho que nessa parte aqui que ele fala.
Maybe talk a little bit about the exclusivity with some news coming up and then hardware. But we've had some unforeseen news that has come out. So let's just go and tackle the exclusivity question, because I know it's on the minds of a lot of people who hear from the community, and that's an important input for us. So we made the decision that we're going to take 4 games
4 jogos.
to the other consoles.
4 jogos.
Just 4 games.
Apenas 4 jogos.
Kind of fundamental exclusive strategy. It is, we're making these decisions for some specific reasons. We make every decision really with the long-term health of Xbox in mind. And long-term health of Xbox means growing platform, our games performing, building the best platform for creators, reaching as many players as we can. We're always looking to learn as a leadership team and to grow. We think this is an interesting point in time for us to use what some of the other platforms have right now to help grow our franchises. So we're going to do that.
So these 4 titles, what are they? Can you say?
I'm not going to name those games.
Ele não quis dizer o nome. Ele não disse o nome dos jogos.
As we know, game teams put a lot of energy into their announcements with the partners. So I don't want to take anything away from those teams. So I won't be talking about the titles specifically, but I think when they come out, it'll make sense.
Can we say if either of those titles are Starfield or Indiana Jones?
Eles não são Starfield e Indiana Jones. Tem que repetir essa parte. Não é Starfield nem Indiana Jones que vai para outras plataformas. Bem, o que eu pude entender daí é que o Phil Spencer falou que são 4 títulos que vão para outras plataformas, né, outros consoles, provavelmente o PlayStation e a Nintendo Switch, e esses títulos são títulos feitos para a comunidade, feitos para jogar em comunidade, né? Eu acredito que realmente seja Pentiment, Grounded, pode ser Grounded também, que é um jogo feito de comunidade, né? E os outros 2 títulos que me vêm na cabeça, não sei qual pode ser. Que ele falou mais à frente, aqui, que são títulos feitos para a comunidade. Vamos ver aqui, tem aqui, vamos ver a parte aqui. Como a equipe pensou no título.
Let me start a little bit outside of that, and then I'll get to the 4 specific games that we're talking about right now. Because the fundamental decision driver for any decision that we make, anything we're going to talk about today, is the long-term health of Xbox. That we're running a growing platform that is reaching more players, that our games are having as much success as possible. And I do have a fundamental belief that over the next 5 or 10 years, exclusive games that are exclusive to one piece of hardware, are going to be a smaller and smaller part of the game industry. And that's not some great insight, because if you look at the last 10 years and what the biggest games are today, it's a natural place. Whether it's one console and PC, multiple consoles, mobile console and PC, you see big games landing on multiple platforms. And we want to be a great platform for creators that are trying to realize that potential. But now back to the specifics of the question on these 4 specific titles. We looked at games that are over a year old, so they've been on Xbox and PC for a while. A couple of the games are community-driven games, new games, kind of first iterations of a franchise that have reached their full potential, let's say, on Xbox and PC. There's always growth. Franchises that we obviously want to continue to invest in. Part of having the ability to continue to invest is that the businesses behind those franchises continue. We think it's important that these service-based games that have communities behind them,
São jogos de comunidade mesmo. Então, com certeza pode ser realmente Grounded e Pentiment e outros jogos mesmo. Galera, então tá aí. Os jogos que vão para outras plataformas são jogos feitos para a comunidade. Então, jogos grandes que todos estavam pensando que iriam para o PlayStation e o Nintendo Switch, não vai. Descartando Starfield e Indiana Jones, permanecem exclusivos do Xbox. Então tá aí. Eu gostei muito desse podcast. Deixa aí a opinião de vocês. O que vocês acharam desse podcast? O que vocês acharam? Qual a opinião de vocês? Quais os jogos vocês estão aí imaginando que vão para o PlayStation e Nintendo? Eu acredito que seja realmente Grounded, Pentiment e outros 2 títulos, eu não sei. Eu vou até dar uma olhadinha para ver. Mas são jogos de comunidade, que ele falou. Jogos feitos para a comunidade, para uma grande quantidade de jogadores, né? Simultâneos. Bem, vamos ver. Tá aí, bem claro, né? Comunidades. Vamos ver. Tá aí, o que vocês acharam? Deixa aí nos comentários a opinião de vocês. Essa foi a live que eu fiz sobre o futuro do Xbox. E tá aí. O futuro do Xbox é esse. Não é nada daquilo que a gente estava pensando, né? Pois é, teve tanto rumor, né, galera? Tanto desespero. E agora? Vocês vão vender o seu Xbox? Agora eu vou perguntar. Vocês vão vender o seu Xbox? Deixa aí nos comentários a opinião de vocês, beleza? Até o próximo vídeo, até a próxima live. E fui!